Are you hungry?
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Görgött. Today we're making Kare Pan, or curry bread. It's really yummy, kind of Japanese comfort food, but I love it too. My family loves it. It's one of these things that on a cold, rainy Sunday afternoon, if you make that for dinner, everyone will be happy again. But before we have a look at the ingredients, do me the favor, if you're not supporting the channel yet, please do so by clicking the subscribe button and checking the bell icon so that you get notifications when new episodes comes online. But now let's have a look at the board. We have our chicken. Basically, it's going to be a deep fat fried bread dough, and inside it's going to have a Japanese curry. And I prefer to make the curry with chicken. You can make it with beef, veal, any type of meat or vegetarian version, whatever you want, but I'm making it with chicken. And this is a really nice chicken thigh, dry aged, so it has a lot of flavors. So that's for the curry. The chicken, we have the classical curry cubes. There's at least two kinds that you can get here in Switzerland. There's like the normal one and there's a medium hot one. This is the medium hot, I like a bit of heat. And then for the curry as well, we have garlic, carrot, onion, and some potatoes. And don't get fooled by the quantities. I'm making more curry than I can fill the breads with, because you can have the curry by itself with some rice. So that's great, and you can keep it in the fridge. The chives are just to decorate. The QP and the Oknomi sauce is also just to decorate and give some flavor. So that's the curry. Now for the dough, we have flour, some honey. I prefer to sweeten with honey, but if you don't like that, you can add sugar. A little bit of salt, some oil, and some milk. And before we deep fat fry it, we need to bread it. So I have some Panko flour and an egg. So that's for the breading. That's basically all we need. Now we'll start with the dough, because that needs to rise. And in the time the dough rises, we'll make the curry. So I'll clean up here so that we can start with the dough. See you in a bit. This is 120 milliliters of milk that I just made lukewarm. And into that we're going to put about half a teaspoon of dry yeast. Let that dissolve. It's good that it's lukewarm or finger warm, because it activates the yeast. And while the yeast is activating, we'll grab our flour. We need 200 grams, just plain white flour. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a scale underneath here. That's why I'm looking down to see. That's 200. We need a good pinch or two of salt. And for our honey, a good tablespoon. Scrape that off with your finger. Last but not least, about two tablespoons of a neutral oil. And then in goes the milk and the yeast. We're ready to put it all in to the machine. And now we need it for probably 4 minutes. I have to plug it in. I'll plug it in, we'll need it for 4 minutes, and then I'll see you again. That should do the trick. Now we just get the dough hook out and get our dough out. I can just make it into a nice bowl. I have a bowl here for proofing. Oiled it a little bit so that it doesn't stick. And now you need to proof this until it's about doubled in size. That could be anything between half an hour and an hour. So keep an eye on it. And in the meantime, we'll make our curry. So I'll put this away, and then we'll start with the curry. We have our chicken. Now just check inside if there's no kind of cartilage. And if there is, just cut that out. I'll try not to get my cap in the way. Can be a bit annoying. I'll take another knife. And then we just want to cut this up into smaller pieces. Now this is dry aged, so there can be very dry pieces of meat, and then you can just cut that away. But otherwise we want kind of this size, well, even smaller, so half of that. This size is good. So if you prepare all your chicken, put them in a separate bowl, and once we're done with that, we'll continue with the vegetables. This will probably take a minute or two. And remember, if you're just making the Kare Pan, then you don't have to make as much curry. I think the dough is probably good for about 6 breads, and this is a lot of curry. So you can make less, just so that you remember that. So get your chicken done, and then I'll see you for the vegetables. We cut all our chicken. We'll just cover it for now, and make sure to put either clean your cutting board really thoroughly, or put it in a dishwasher, because you don't want the salmonella. This goes in the fridge, and then we can prep the veg. Now let's start with the onion. And as you can see, I didn't want to bore you with the peeling of the vegetables. And the onion we're just gonna chop relatively finely. Doesn't need to be super fine. Something like this is perfect. And you can put everything in the same bowl. So that was the onion. I'll make the second part as well, but I don't need to show you that. The garlic we're also just going to chop up roughly. Nothing special. Oh, that was a strong garlic. My tears are drying up. My eyes are tearing up. So the onion, the garlic, the potato will cut a bit bigger, probably like thickness like that, and into cubes. And I'll show you the carrot as well. Split it in half, then half it again, and then we'll actually do them like this, so they're quarters. And I would say about half a centimeter thick. So chop up all your vegetables, and then we're going to move over to the stove. First I'll dry my eyes, then we'll move to the stove, and then we'll get the curry going. So see you in a bit at the stove. So I'm doing my curry a little bit different. I start with quite a lot of oil, where I'm going to fry off the chicken first, and then put the chicken to the side. And then we'll start with the vegetables. So the oil is hot, we can check. Yeah, makes a nice noise. So we're going to fry about half of this to not cool down too much. And we just want to get a really nice color. And we're using the same frying pan later on, so it will have the taste of the chicken, obviously with a bit less oil. So they're starting to brown. We'll take them. I'm just transferring them to kitchen paper. And then we'll do the same with the rest of the chicken. And then I'll see you again for the vegetables. So as you can see, we're using the same pan. Put in all our vegetables. And I put it down to medium heat because I don't want to brown these, I just kind of want to cook them. The onion should go translucent. Then we add a little bit of water, or you can add stock. But you don't need stock because we have the curry cubes. And all that nice brown stuff in the bottom will loosen up when we add liquid. But try to get your onions kind of translucent before we add the liquid. Now we add our curry blocks and a bit of water. And we put a lid on it for now. Now let's see if anything has happened. The curry blocks are dissolving nicely. Give it a stir. Try to help them along. And we can put the lid back on, turn the heat down a little bit more. And we wait another minute. Let's get the lid off, check again. Check our vegetables if they're slowly getting done. I need a little bit longer. And the sauce needs to thicken up a bit as well. So now we leave the lid off because we want it to reduce a little bit. Give it another taste, see if we need to add some. We might need to add a little bit of salt at the end. Try carrot. Yeah, the carrot's almost done as well. So let's put in our chicken. Just mix it in. Now it just needs to thicken up a little bit more, and then we need to cool it. So it's almost where we want it now, but we add some more salt to it. Mix that in. Give it a quick taste. That's perfect. Try vegetables. Doesn't get better. I'm quite happy with the thickness. Now all we need to do is to let this cool. So put it, I don't know if you can put it outside, but at least take it away from the stove. And now let's get working on the dough. Our dough has doubled in size. I'll take it out. And let's weigh it so we can portion it. $373. 373 divided by 6. We want around 62 grams per dough piece. So let's portion this. And let's try to get to 62. Reset. 64. 58. 61 is close enough. Now all you need to do is to form them. And we want 6 of those. Last one. Now we want them to raise a bit as well and let them rest a bit. So either just some cling film on top or like a humid towel. And we leave them for about another 15 to 20 minutes. So I'll see you when that's done and the curry has cooled down. See you. Let's do this. Let's fill the bread, fill the dough. First flatten it out. Now don't get tempted to fill it too much, because if the dough gets in contact with the curry sauce on where you're trying to close it, it's not going to close properly. So I think for this size, probably about, a good tablespoon of filling. And try to get some of the liquid away. I'll say that's a good amount. Now we pull a bit. And then we close it up. Just press down really hard. And even pinch it. And then we just fold in the corners. And then we fold over the folds like this. Now it doesn't look beautiful, but now you just scrape it towards yourself, finally, so that it kind of stands up. And that's ready for the flouring. So we'll do that next. I'll see you in a bit. Just whisk the egg up. Now I'm only making one for us. The rest I'll put in the fridge without breading them, and then they keep until tonight when I'll have some more with my family. And what we'll do is not classical, but we'll add some salt and pepper into the egg wash. A good pinch. And a couple of turns. So, that's ready. Now let's get the Kare Pan. Put it into the egg. Be a little bit careful with it. And then we move it over to the panko. And I'll clean my hands and we'll move over to the pot of oil there and we'll fry this. Now let's check if the oil is hot enough. I mean, if you have a thermometer, it should be around 180 degrees Celsius. You can also just put in a chopstick, and if it bubbles around the top of it, it's pretty much ready. I would drop this in carefully. It will float up. Probably about a minute on each side. Should be nice and golden brown. I prepared some paper here to put it on afterwards. This is a difficult one. It doesn't want to stay down. So we'll just have to hold it. Because it just want to float on one side. There's nothing that we can't handle with this. So I'll say we're pretty happy with that. So put it on some paper, dry it up, and then we'll move back to the other side. So we're ready to plate this up, but before we do, if you stuck with me this far, there must have been something you enjoyed about this episode. So please support me and the channel by hitting that thumbs up button. Hit it below now. It really helps me to reach a wider audience so that they can enjoy my episodes as much as hopefully you do. But now, let's plate this. You can already hear it now how crispy it is. Let's get our QP going. And our Oknomi sauce. And last but not least, our chives. Now I didn't show you how I cut them, because I mean, cutting chives is nothing exciting. But that's my version of a Kare Pan, a curry bread. Let's dig in. Can't wait. I'm going to do this with my hands. I hope it's not too hot. I hope you can hear the crunch in the mic. That is comfort food. I think I might have gotten it all over my mustache, but I'm going in again. It's just crazy good. I'm quickly going to clean my hands and my mouth, and then I'll talk to you. So as you can see, half gone. It went all over, but it was worth it. It's such a bomb of flavors, and it's nice and crunchy. The bread dough is nice and fluffy. The curry has a little hint of spiciness. It's not a spicy curry. There's the medium spicy version that they sell, but I wouldn't consider it as spicy. But it's a very nice, kind of subtle curry. And I like to do it with chicken thighs. It's the best meat for curry, I think. And also the Oknomi sauce and the QP mayo on top. Oh. If you make this, I promise you, you will love it. But that's it for me today. If you haven't done so yet, support the channel, and you know 4 things you can do. Subscribe, check the bell icon, hit the like button, and leave a comment. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.